Listening to the Rock Jukebox, I'm Jeff Collins. This week we're going to look at the Led Zeppelin complete BBC sessions, which have just been released. It's a year since Led Zeppelin issued their entire back catalogue, complete with bonus tracks. Now, though, they've released these recordings they made for the BBC between 1969 and 1971. They include a lost 3-song session from 1969. Previously unreleased tracks complete a third disc of the 2-disc compilation. They include 2 versions of Communication Breakdown and What Is and What Should Never Be, as well as Dazed and Confused. And those lost sessions from March 1699, which were once believed to have been erased by the BBC from their master tapes, contain the often bootlegged boogieing blues rocker Sunshine Woman, a track Zeppelin never formally released. That session took place the same month that the band's debut album came out in the UK. The complete BBC sessions is out on CD and on vinyl and on download as well. Now, Zeppelin's record company, Atlantic, have put together a special behind-the-scenes programme showing you how these sessions were made and teaching us a little bit more about Led Zeppelin history. And this is the programme that they've made. It's about 50 minutes long, and I hope you enjoy it.
This is something we've waited for a long time on the show, and I know it's all going to be well worth the wait. So would you welcome, please, Led Zeppelin.
As you probably know, Led Zeppelin was a band that broke down a lot of rock and roll barriers. They combined musical genres with dizzying recklessness. They ignored the conventions of song length for radio, and they rarely performed a song in concert the same way twice. These 4 master musicians were always hungry to push their music past any imagined boundaries. So, what happens when this band encounters a government-run broadcasting entity called the BBC, known for precise and tightly run shows? Jimmy Page.
When Led Zeppelin was starting out, we weren't going for the singles market at all. We were going for an album market, which was just starting to really take off, certainly in America, with the advent of stereo radio stations that were actually getting to the point where they'd play one whole side of an album. So that was something to sort of aim for an underground radio. An underground audience was exactly where you wanted to go, but not be doing singles whereby from album to album you'd have this sort of ball and chain that you're dragging around trying to replicate the last success. So to be able to move on with your music, the most obvious thing to me was to actually eliminate the whole idea of having to be in the singles market. So the BBC had these little slots where you could go in and just record in Maida Vale and the Playhouse Theatre, etc. And you'd have a time slot where you'd go in, and you didn't have a lot of time either to go in and present your music. Now, there had been a programme prior to this called Pop Goes the Beatles, where the Beatles would go in and they'd play their songs. The way the Beatles would do their songs was pretty note for note perfect. But for us, it just gave us a chance to go in there and do a shorter number, being something like Communication Breakdown, and then Dazed and Confused to show the sort of areas that we were moving into as a band, which was far more experimental than any areas that other people had done. So we'd usually be going in with those 2 tracks at least. And basically, these programs that they had gave us the opportunity to actually be heard on the radio. And that's what it's all about.
Hi, I'm Dan Neer. As of September 16th, Rhino Entertainment unleashes Led Zeppelin's complete BBC sessions as a 3 CD set, or a 5 album set, or as a digital download. There's also a super deluxe box set featuring all of the previous, plus a 44-page book. All of these include an entire disc of previously unreleased music, some of which has achieved near mythic status. For the next hour, we'll revel in these scintillating live radio performances turned in by Led Zeppelin and hear insights from Jimmy Page, Robert Plant, and John Paul Jones. Welcome to Led Zeppelin, the complete BBC sessions, all access.
Tell
The searing communication breakdown appears 5 times on Led Zeppelin, the complete BBC sessions. Each performance is different, emphasizing the ever-evolving sound and spontaneity of Led Zeppelin live. This version was for the 5th of Led Zeppelin's 6 BBC sessions, and it was recorded June 27, 1969, and called One Night Stand. 5 of Led Zeppelin's BBC sessions happened during March and June of 1969. The band released its debut album in January that year and would release Led Zeppelin 2 in October. So, how did they come up with enough material to do 5 different BBC sessions? Jimmy Page.
At the end of the set, when we had a chance to do encore, especially in the early days when we didn't have that many albums out there, certainly say on the first album, we would do sort of old rock and roll standards to make like a sort of let's have a party aspect at the end of it, you know. And our take on those rock and roll tracks sometimes was pretty faithful to how they originally were, or we'd have totally different versions of them. We're talking about now, when this is recorded, we've got the first album. I know that we did something else when we recorded at the Albert Hall, for example, and that's January 1970. So we really enjoyed doing those Eddie Cochran numbers because they just were so brilliantly recorded and inspiring for musicians in the first place.
Led Zeppelin tearing through Eddie Cochran's Something Else from the newly remastered Led Zeppelin Complete BBC Sessions. The 6th and final Led Zeppelin BBC session happened April 1st, 1971, which was several months before the November 1st release of their landmark 4th album. From the Paris Theatre on Regent Street in London, Led Zeppelin wound up giving the UK an early premiere of some of the music they were working on at the time. Robert Plant.
We were really good at touring. We always used to tour before the record came out. That was a very clever idea. Never caught on, that idea, actually. I mean, the thing is that it was like, we nearly got it right. We nearly got it organised to the point that we could actually have supported a record with a tour. But we were usually supporting a tour with a record. We were getting things almost right, but not quite.
John Paul Jones on Black Dog.
Black Dog I wrote on the train coming back from rehearsal. My father was a musician, and he showed me a way of writing musical notation without having music paper. And so I wrote out the riff on the back of a ticket, which unfortunately I don't have. He was on the train back from Pangbourne, where Page used to live, to London. There was a blues song which I'd heard, which just had a riff that just went round and round and round. I thought it'd be nice to do a riff that went round and round and round. It didn't fit into a straight 12 bar.
Hey, mama said the way you move make you sweat. Don't tell me no lies, make me a happy mind.
Black Dog, recorded live at the BBC 7 months before it was released on Led Zeppelin 4, coming from the Paris Theatre in London and part of the newly remastered and expanded Led Zeppelin Complete BBC Sessions. Interestingly, that performance never made the actual broadcast of Zepp's set 3 nights later on the John Peel in-concert show. More amazing live performances from the BBC and Jimmy Page's and Robert Plant's insights await your ears when All Access returns in a few minutes. Thanks for rejoining us for Led Zeppelin, the Complete BBC Sessions, All Access. One of the legendary songs you get now on the new previously unreleased companion disc is Sunshine Woman. Here's Jimmy Page to tell you its history.
It was recorded for an Alexis Corner blues session. He wasn't actually at the studio, but irony of ironies, this show was actually only for the world broadcasting service anyway. It wasn't even going to be played over here. I guess that's how desperate we were for airplay. Anyway, we went in, then it was going to be blues, so we did You Shook Me and I Can't Quit You Baby. Oh, well, there was time for another number, so we just made one up on the spot. So it's just a sort of generic riff, really, like the sort of thing that on stage in live performance is coming up with riffs all the time. But then there's a riff and a construction just thrown together very, very quickly for the purpose of having yet one more song. And it was Alexis Corner, and yeah, we knew he'd done a lot for the blues, and so we were going to do something to, a little bit more for his show. That session was, in fact, broadcast. I have no more knowledge than the fact that it only got broadcast once abroad, and somebody had actually taped it off the radio, apparently. And in the search for trying to get hold of these tapes, well, they just disappeared into thin air. And that's a long while ago, too. That's going back as far as when these original BBC sessions came out on CD, which was a much reduced sort of package than what this is. Because in the search, anything that had been left off of those sessions was now included. And this whole Alexis Corner deal, well, the 3 tracks from there is on here too, but the tapes are just gone. Nobody knows where they are. And these things had circulated on bootleg. Anyway, by hook or by crook, things were acquired for this. And I think we would have forgotten that number It's not like it was something that we ever did afterwards. It was just purely for there and then, for the purposes of having another number for Alexis Corner's show. It's still pretty wild, but that's the history of it.
I got a baby now, treat me fine. I got a little woman wanna do better. I need another time to keep my sunshine, baby. She's not some kind to me. Well, she give me breakfast in the morning, devotion. Also make my tea. She got no diamond, shine like gold. Got a mortgage on my body, got a lien on my soul. And my baby walks along, her front teeth that shine like gold. Well, you know she shine like diamond, but she got a mortgage on my soul.
Sunshine Woman recorded by the BBC Live and made up by Led Zeppelin on the spot, showing the band's bravado and their mastery when performing live. It's now officially available on the new 3-CD, 5-album or digital release of Led Zeppelin, the complete BBC Sessions. To talk about Led Zeppelin performing live and not to give props to their powerhouse drummer John Bonham would be a crime. To do just that, here are his bandmates, beginning with Jimmy Page.
His imagination on the drums was, certainly in the rock and roll field, was second to none. The overall swing that he had. So, you know, you talk about guitarists like Hendrix. Nobody played like Hendrix. Nobody played the drums like John Bonham. And that's all there is to it. You know, it's his imagination and what he could actually do. I mean, I could present him with a riff and it's sitting on it straight away, you know. Basically, because as the band went on, it became more exciting because you knew you could push these things and everyone would be able to lock in like that, you know. It's fabulous. You know, it was great with John because you just knew that there wasn't anything you could throw at him that he wouldn't be able to do and improve on.
John Paul Jones.
He was a bass player's dream, really. Not only was a drummer, he was a musician as well. You know, there are two can be sometimes different. Having said that, you can say that about any instrument, but he really knew what he was doing and he listened and he had such feel, such a soul. And we just worked really well together. Plus, he was always funny. I mean, he was a very humorous man and very generous man. And so he used to go crazy, so did we all. But no, he was a joy to be with on stage. really was. I just loved playing with him.
Robert Plant.
Well, it's tough because, you know, I mean, he and I came from the same area. I still live there. Pat still lives there. Jason still lives there. Everybody's around. And it's like, it's a bit like waiting for Ulysses to come home, you know? And it's just, time does fly, you know? Everybody's busy doing what they're doing. And to look back now, I think, whoa, we didn't really know that much. To actually have that much energy and to create that much excitement within ourselves, we didn't really know that much. I mean, the etiquette of general manhood and stuff, you know, we're still wet behind the ears. So it's kind of cute, really. That you look back and go, whoa, hey, guy.
From Led Zeppelin, the complete BBC sessions, The Immigrant Song, recorded at the Paris Theatre, April 1st, 1971. "16 days after Led Zeppelin's first BBC session, they were invited back by producer Jeff Griffin because he was blown away by their initial performance. This time, the band played at Maida Vale Studio 4.
What we also did when we did these BBC sessions, though, was that we'd go in and we'd have a bit of fun. Because we were so well oiled that we could go in there. And I'm not saying we were slick, because if you're going into a studio situation whereby it's going to be played back on air, and that's going to be your sort of slot on the radio where Led Zeppelin pops up for a moment with some music, albeit if it's a sort of tailor-made programme for current music of that day, or what, we still would go in there and we'd sort of do a blues, and it wouldn't be something that we'd done before. And the Travelling Riverside Blues story is I actually take my electric 12-string along to the studio, knowing that we're going to do something, not knowing that it's going to end up as Travelling Riverside Blues, but knowing what the construction of it is, even though none of the others know I'm bringing my electric 12-string, if you mean. So we go in there, and I guess the guys from the BBC thought they already had this when they came in, but we didn't. It's like Sunshine Woman is another one. It's made up on the spot. Oh, can we have another number? Okay, yeah, okay, well, here's a riff. Let's just do something like this. Let's put it this way. If somebody was going to do Jules Holland, they wouldn't go on there and jam numbers and make them up on the spot, but we did.
a spontaneous combustion from Led Zeppelin's complete BBC sessions, newly brought up to today's sonic standards by Jimmy Page. That's Robert Johnson's Traveling Riverside Blues, done at Maida Vale 4 Studios, June 24th, 1969.
Well, is he producing this? Oh, no. He's now on a world service producing whatever it is. You know, llamas in Mexico.
That's next, when we bring you more of Led Zeppelin's complete BBC sessions, All Access. Thanks for rejoining our celebration of the release of Led Zeppelin's complete BBC sessions on All Access. I'm Dan Neer. Jimmy Page told us that the fact that there was no live audience at the first 4 performances for the BBC was a challenge for Led Zeppelin. Here's Jimmy on another tricky situation for the band whenever they went in to record a show at one of the BBC recording studios.
It was going to be risky, though, doing the concert, because you're still only as good as the engineers that they have. One of the things that happened with the BBC was that you'd go along and you'd find a fantastic engineer and be looking forward to going back. Somebody who really got it, you know, and really got a really good sound on everybody's instruments and was putting up a pretty good balance on the playback, and you'd be looking forward to going back, and then you'd find that you'd ask for the engineer, oh no, he's a producer. Well, is he producing this? Oh no, he's now on a world service producing whatever it is. You know, llamas in Mexico, not even doing music anymore, and yet he was a fine recording engineer. I found that rather odd. But it's obviously the way that things worked in those days there. Obviously, you were relying on how good the engineer was going to be.
Recorded live at the BBC, Led Zeppelin's The Girl I Love Got Long Black Wavy Hair. As we mentioned before, Led Zeppelin was so confident in their live musicianship that they performed songs from their watershed 4th album nearly 7 months before its release. That includes their masterwork Stairway to Heaven, warts and all. Jimmy Page.
It's really still an embryonic stage as far as actually performing it live. Obviously, it's one of the first times that we're performing it live, I reckon. With Stairway is a classic example of something where the audience reception is pretty muted, so you don't really know whether they've had a serious talk from somebody from the BBC beforehand saying, look, whatever you do, don't start getting over too enthusiastic because it'll mess up our recording time and routine. We don't want to have lots of time and applause. I don't know what was said. What I do know, though, is that with Stairway to Heaven, when we were embarking on an American tour, before the fourth album came out, particularly I remember in Los Angeles, we played it at the Forum, and there was a sizable amount of the audience that got up and gave it a standing ovation. And I thought that was pretty special because it was a long number to hear, a new piece of material from a group. And they not only that, they got it to the point where they wanted to get up and really show their enthusiasm for it. So I knew that what I believed, that it was something really special, was actually conveying to the audience. But they hadn't heard it over there either. But then again, they're not in a BBC theatre, aren't they? So I'd always noticed when I'd heard back these BBC sessions before, when the CDs came out years and years and years ago, that it was quite funny really that the audience reception to it is pretty muted. But you know, being honest guys, we didn't track the audience and have a really raucous audience to beef it up in this day and age.
There's a lady who's sure all that glitters is gold, and she's buying a stairway to heaven. When she gets there, she knows if the stores are all closed, with a word she can get what she came for. And she's buying a stairway to heaven. There's a sign on the wall, and she wants to be sure, 'cause you know sometimes words have two meanings. In the tree by the brook, there's a songbird who sings. Sometimes all of our thoughts are misgiven. Oh, but it makes me wonder. There's a feeling I get when I look to the west, and my spirit is crying for leaving. In my thoughts I have seen rings of smoke through the trees, and the voices of those who stand looking. Don't you know it makes me wonder? And it's whispered that soon, if we all call the tune, then the piper will lead us to reason, and a new day will dawn for those who stand long, and the forests will echo with laughter. Oh. Makes me wonder.
to heaven.
The last song that we have time for from Led Zeppelin's complete BBC sessions, one of their magnum opuses, Stairway to Heaven. It is time for us to wind on down the road, but before we do, here's Jimmy Page to give you an overview of these BBC performances.
It's really important in so much as it shows how, well, there was a vehicle which was radio. We weren't doing singles, although there were tracks that were taken from the albums that would go on the radio for play, but it didn't mean to say that we were actually releasing singles to get into a singles market. So, given the knowledge that we were just an album band, if you like, the way that we were approaching this opportunity to be heard and what we would do, I mean, it's extraordinary that we would go in and make up music on the spot when we're in, not only on one occasion, but on numerous occasions. So that we're able to talk about Sunshine Woman and Girl I Love Has Long Black Wavy Hair and Travelling Riverside Blues. I don't think anybody else would do this. So purely just for the sheer fact of the bravado of the band and the sheer balls of it, and yet the sheer quality of what is being done there as well. And with real time restraints as well. It was an open-ended time, because we worked very quickly in the studio. We didn't waste time. We never wasted any time throughout the whole of the Led Zeppelin recording career. But certainly, given the sort of parameters of how you had to work and what you had to work with, and the fact that you knew it was a bit antiquated in the very early days and not up to par with even being a studio musician, how things had been done a number of years earlier. From my experience, or even at the Yardbirds, it was just the way that you moulded what you had into the opportunity that you had, and to make less is more, if you like. I think it's a really good package.
Led Zeppelin's complete BBC sessions is available now as a digital download or as a 3-CD or 5-album deluxe edition, all with a full bonus disc of previously unreleased songs. There's also a super deluxe box set. All of the music has been supervised by Jimmy Page and sounds phenomenal.
So, having reissued all their albums, this should be the final one now. The BBC Sessions, completely remastered by Jimmy Page and John Davis. It's out now, CD and vinyl and digital formats. There's also a super deluxe box set on offer, which features all 3 formats. The bonus disc contains 8 previously unreleased tracks, including that lost session, which they thought had been wiped from the BBC archive and is often described as the holy grail for Led Zeppelin collectors. This has been the Rock Jukebox. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'm Jeff Collins.